I've got an offer for you.
Go on then.
Can I buy your hole-in-one off you?
Yeah, if you want.
25 grand.
No, it's not enough.
Oh, God. Hey, guys, welcome back to the Rick Shiels Golf Show podcast, everybody. I'm your host, Rick Shiels. I'm here with co-host, Guy, episode number 103. How are you, pal? Did you have a good weekend?
I did. Went to the gym.
Nice.
And ate brownies and ate all the trick-or-treaters treats. There was no treats for trick-or-treaters. I said to you before off camera, but Abby went out and left me at the house.
Yeah.
And she had, like, near the front door, a big bowl full of sweets and stuff, Mao-Wams and refreshers and
nice.
You name it. And I'd been to the gym, and I was getting upstairs, getting into the shower, and there was a large knock at the door. And I could tell it wasn't like cute kids. It was kids that like mid-teens, maybe even too old to be out trick-or-treating. The rule of thumb is, I think, if you're old enough to be out on your own, you're too old to be trick-or-treating.
Yeah, I could go
That's
with that.
fair.
Yeah.
So I didn't answer the door.
Okay.
It was obvious I was in. The upstairs light was on, the downstairs light was on. I felt a bit mean, to be fair, but I jumped in the shower after the gym, felt good about myself, and then went downstairs and ate probably a third of the bowl of sweets.
Wowzers. That's good going.
Yeah.
It's really good going. This weekend, very different trick-or-treating. I went out with the kids trick-or-treating. I find it a really weird concept. I can't get my head around it. Americans, you've certainly put your stamp of Halloweenness over here in the UK right now because it's got bigger than ever before. I'm still not sure about it. All year long, I tell my kids, don't talk to strangers, don't get sweets from strangers. And for one night a year, it's absolutely acceptable to knock on strangers' door and ask for sweets.
Yeah, it is weird.
Very strange concept. But I was out trick-or-treating with the kids and had a good night, actually. It was quite fun. But we had lots of trick-or-treaters at the house, and my wife stayed at the house, and we had a big bowl. By the end of the night, it was pretty much gone because we decorated the house.
Yeah,
That
so
might have
people
been a big
knew.
mistake.
See, that's another rule, I think. Trick-or-treating, you should only really trick-or-treat at houses that are showing
Correct.
love for the festival, for
Correct.
the time of year, whatever it might be.
A pumpkin, a bit of lights, whatever it
I
may
had
be.
nothing.
Exactly. If a house has nothing, don't knock.
Yeah.
Simple as. But yeah, we talked about last week how we're different mindset and trying to get healthier and not be on our phone as much. This weekend, I did half of that. I worked out. I spent loads of time on my phone. I ate and drank like a king.
Did you?
So yeah.
Why did I can get the eating and drinking because I didn't have friends round.
Yeah.
How did the phone creep back in?
I don't know.
Have you got TikTok back?
No.
Good.
TikTok's not there.
What's been consuming your time on the phone then?
Weirdly, YouTube.
Just watching more.
Yeah, but nothing really golf. Just I don't even know what I've been watching. I just end
What's
up
your
watching
screen
stuff.
time saying? Is it bad?
Well, I just had a notification on a minute ago about my screen time. It said last week I was on average on screen time 5 hours 3 minutes on average per day.
Yeah.
It's a lot, that, isn't it?
Mine's 3 hours 10. I got that same notification an hour ago.
So I've never had this on before, so it's going to be interesting. So this week I'm going to try and go sub 5 hours a day.
Christ.
When you think of that, it's a long time, isn't it?
It's a long time. Certainly when you've got kids and you're in work. Like, where do you find the time?
I'm on the toilet.
Are you still getting up early?
I have done, not every day. I'm getting more annoyed myself when I don't.
So what was today?
Today wasn't. It was at 7 o'clock. On Friday I got up early. On Saturday I didn't, and on Sunday I didn't, and today I didn't. So
So is
3
that-
days in a row I didn't. One day I did, 3 days I didn't, which is annoying.
So haven't you got to do 60 odd days? So you've not got to start again to get the habit? Because you didn't say it was 66 days.
66 days to build a habit. I don't know. Hopefully it rolls over. Hopefully the 10 days that I did, I can collect them and roll them over to just 50 days.
I don't think that's how it works, unfortunately.
You know what the worst thing is at the moment? How more autumnal, wintry it's gone.
It has. Well, that's something I'm going to come on to today about golf.
Oh, it's just
I've had
gone.
a lot of people saying about this.
The amount of times, like, even in the morning, I've got up, my alarm's gone off at like 5 o'clock or 5:15, depending. And literally outside, it's rain, it's wind. I'm like, oh my God. And sometimes I'm only training in my garage, but I'm like, I don't even want to go from my house to my garage in this weather conditions. But yeah, anyway, that's my life at the moment. I feel better. I feel like I'm on it today. I've come back in, healthy breakfast, healthy lunch planned, little gym session potentially this afternoon, and maybe badminton tonight again.
Nice.
Bought a racket.
Sports Direct Special.
No.
Amazon.
It is ridiculous, yeah. do you know there's a racket online? And
How much have you spent on the racket?
If people are in, like, and this, I'm almost seeing this as if this is my transition into like starting golf again, right? So me and my mate last week went and played badminton, and I absolutely loved it. For an hour, sweated my nuts off, and honestly loved it. I thought I was amazing, but I was terrible. But I thought I was good. And at the time, I had to borrow a racket from the leisure centre or whatever. I had to borrow a shuttlecock, which was horrendous, like proper battered. So every bad shot I hit, I blame the shuttlecock.
Of course, yeah.
Or the racket. I kept looking at the racket and thinking it was bent, right? So this week we're going to go again. I thought, right, I'm going to buy a racket. So I went online. How mad is this? I went on Amazon, badminton racket, and there was a few coming up, a few that kind of didn't look great. Did you go with
Onyx?
No, it is a golf brand though, weirdly. And I was looking and I was thinking, I don't really like these. So I went in price order, but most expensive first, right? I didn't go this big. Have a guess how much some rackets were?
It can be 300 quid.
Higher.
Well, I don't know then. I'm
sure the highest one I found, and honestly, I'm going to very quickly look for it now because I don't want to misquote myself, but it was in the thousands.
Do you not think, though, as golfers, we almost don't have any right to be surprised or shocked at what other equipment's like? I don't go fishing, but I know that fishing rods can be expensive and stuff. But like, imagine if you didn't play golf and you saw that a golf ball that will get lost can cost like 3 or 4 quid for one ball. A glove can cost 25 quid that'll end up ripping. Like, it is ludicrous.
I can't find it in price order now, annoyingly. Highest first. Come on, Rick.
So how much was your racket?
So there's one here, and this is mad. The really expensive ones don't come with strings.
Yeah, I get it.
So there's one here. I don't even know what brand it is. It looks pretty nice. Oh, it's Yonex, right? See, this is a Yonex racket without strings. £4,283.
And is that actually a genuine price? That weird thing where Amazon does that, where it says it can be and it's actually not.
I don't know.
Because sometimes, what's it called? The racket?
The WYKDL Yonex racket.
That's not. All right. Okay.
Is it?
It seems a bit.
The other ones are like £500.
I think that $4,000 seems a bit much.
I thought it was like signed by a professional player.
Wow, fair
Anyway,
dues.
the one I got a Wilson.
Oh, nice.
And
please don't tell me it cost you more than 100 quid.
No. It cost me. Let me see what the price was. I did buy this when I was drunk.
Should be 40 quid max if you just get into it.
25 quid.
Oh, that's perfect. That works for me. I'm
Wilson
right with that.
Recon 90. It came in a bag. It is the nuts. And then we had to buy some shuttlecocks. This was an increase. I don't know why we're talking about this. 12 shuttlecocks. Again, no excuse. Proper feathered ones. 15 quid.
Nice.
So I was like, when they arrived this week, it really imagine if when you first start in golf ever and you order like a box of Pro V1s and they come through the post and you open them and you take them out of the box. And I was like studying like the shuttlecocks and looking at the shape of them, like throwing them around the living room. And I was getting my racket out and pretending I was playing badminton.
Are you going to join the gym then now again?
Nah, I just go as guest pass to keep going as guest pass.
How many has he got?
Well, the guy who first let me in recognised me. He watches the video, so I think I can just do a little...
What about when he's not working?
Sign him a little... picture or something.
How long's the badminton phase gonna last?
Who knows? I've invested now.
If it's still here next week, I'll be impressed.
I'm 30 quid deep in badminton. So the last thing I want is a sweatband.
You don't get a sweatband.
Head sweatband.
You're actually gonna get a sweatband?
Yeah, I think so.
God.
I think just to complete the look.
This is a midlife crisis, if you ask me.
And again, if I'm relating this to golf, this is like someone again like going, I need like proper metal spike shoes now. I need like a baseball cap to play golfing. But anyway, yeah, I'm excited about it. Racket's going to come out tonight, and hopefully this time I won't lose 4 games in a row, which I did last week.
Ouch.
Anyway,
we've got a good show. Well, yeah, thanks for the Let's have every week we can have a Rick's badminton update, 5 minutes at the end, and that'll really keep people listening to the whole podcast. You don't want to miss that. Christ, I'm sorry. This podcast is really going downhill. But today we have got a lot of golf stuff planned, Rick, which you know nothing about yet.
Like, we do talk golf. We do talk golf.
We try to. But we've got a bit of quite an equipment-y show today, and we've got some news, bits and bats. So the first bit of news is that we played 9 holes last week, and you won.
We actually played, 9 and a few extras.
A few extras don't really. That was like warming up.
Warm up.
We played Adlington Golf Centre, which is the famous home of the Big Holes, Small Holes video. So when you played with Hannah Davis and when you recently played John Robbins, there's also an amazing driving range and a really good 9-hole par 3 course that we played.
Yeah.
And we had a pretty epic battle.
Well, it was really. It was outrageously windy.
It was.
So there's a storm hitting the UK this week. Do you know what it's called? They normally have daft names, don't they?
Storm Shiels.
Okay. So this must have been the start of the storm end of last week, and we went to Adlington, and we flew around a few holes on the little tiny golf course.
Little
first.
loosener.
And then we went on to what's called the Heritage Course, which is like a new one. All par 3s. I think the shortest one was probably about 130 yards.
It wasn't like a pitch and putt. It was a proper course.
130 yards, and I think the longest hole was 197 yards, if I'm not mistaken.
200? I think it was... I don't know, that's so loud. 8th. Was that not more?
Was it in the 220? Was it?
I think
it was into wind. We both couldn't reach it. Anyway.
I didn't reach with a 2-iron.
The clubs
I didn't take a
took
driver on the par 3 course, but I should have done.
So you played the weirdest golf shot I've ever seen on the first hole.
I gifted you the first hole. It was, 155 uphill a little bit into the wind.
You tried to hit 2-iron.
I tried to chip. I don't know why I thought this. I tried to put a 2-iron back foot and literally almost borderline chip and run it up the hill, and ended up putting it massively long into the bushes and gave you the first hole. Because I thought if I give you the first hole, that gives us quite a good match then. I know you wouldn't take shots off me, so give you the first hole, we can have a competitive match.
I just think I wouldn't take shots off you.
Yeah. Okay. You wouldn't take shots off me if I said you want to cut any shots. You'd be...
I wouldn't take shots off you, no.
That's what I'm saying, so I'll give you the first hole as a treat.
You need to be taking shots off me.
No, I gave you the first hole, so you had a bit of a head start, so you started one up.
Wow.
You mustn't have thought I'd hit a 2-iron on a par 3 like that. Surely to crap. God, Rick.
I did think you were going nuts. We have the second. I won the third, so I was 2 up through 3. And then you went on a rampage.
Yeah, real rat.
And we were all square through 8.
Yeah, so the 9th was it playing about 1...
Well, I got it way wrong. It was
playing
playing at 190.
No, it was 160 yard, I think. It was playing longer than you thought anyway. I had this horrible 7-9 right and pin eye, but well missed the green. You were short.
I am way short.
I hit like a nice chip to probably 8 foot.
It was nice.
And then you did this weird bump and run, but very close. And I just missed the putt and you won. So you won weird. 1 up.
Lovely golf shot.
I won on the last. It was a bit of a weird. It was a good shot. It was a bit of a not what I saw you playing.
Well, it wasn't the floaty.
Zip it. It wasn't what you doing a chipping green, would it?
No.
You'd have been zipping it in with a 56.
I'm all square against you on the last hole. I'm playing to my strengths.
Yeah.
Lucky I wasn't getting putter out. So yeah, I managed to take the dub.
You did. So that gave you that. If I hadn't given you that hole at the start, it would have been all square.
Give me this hole. That was good. We'll try and have more matches to keep our audience up to date with Rick and Guy Golf Series.
Well, speaking of par 3s, I witnessed this last couple of days the best golf shot I have ever seen on YouTube, and it comes from your friend of mine and friend of the show, young Matthew Fryer.
Yeah, so if you've not seen this, well, I got a text last week, or it might have been early this week, actually. Oh, no, it would have been last week now, where we're up to. And he texted the lads. So we're in a group, me, Pete, Carter, and Matt. And he texted in the group, lads, something special's just happened. I've had a hole-in-one on camera.
That's the dream.
It's the on-camera bit that is the special bit, because there's been quite a number of hole-in-ones now online. Probably one of the best ones I've ever seen is the one from GM Golf, Matt. I can't remember his surname. Sharp.
I don't know.
Matt from GM Golf, or the good boy, shall I say. He had a hole-in-one on a par 4, and it was filmed incredibly. Loads of cameras, and it's a par 4. He's hitting 3 wood. It was phenomenal. That video's gone on to absolutely kill it in views, obviously. And what was interesting with that video, the good video, and Matt's video, both times it was called before it was happening. Like Garrett said in that video, I feel like someone's going to get a hole-in-one.
Yeah. And
Matt on his video said, I fancy getting a hole-in-one here. So he was over in Spain at La Cala Golf Course. I've never been to it. It looks nice. He's on this par 3. He's doing a bit of filming, and it's the second hole he's filming in. It's a 142-yard par 3 down the hill, surrounded by water at the front right. The green almost had a little bit of kind of an Africa shape to it, almost kind of a big at the back and then kind of slim down into the front. Pin was back left, and he said, I'm going to hit pitching wedge, and he's trying to hit this perfect golf shot, obviously. He said, this is the number. So he hits this pitching wedge full. It's in the air. He went, if that's the number, it's going to slam dunk.
It slam dunked.
It absolutely slam dunked.
On the clip for the YouTube version of the podcast, we'll hopefully use Matt's clip here. You can ask him to borrow that clip.
We're not even going to ask him.
We'll credit him.
We'll just steal it.
As you can see, it is a ridiculous golf shot. It actually destroys the hole. It destroys a little bit around the top of the cup.
Well, what's really interesting when you see it the first time, around the hole there's something that's white, and typically on a golf course, if you're at a really nice golf course, sometimes the inner side of the hole gets painted white.
Do you know why that is?
To make it look bigger.
I think it's actually so on TV you can see it. And then therefore it's become a bit of a, like you said, a thing with good golf courses. So even courses that aren't on television have it now.
Oh, that's quite clever. So when this golf ball slams in the hole, kind of the white thing like disappears. It looked a bit weird. I was like,
good.
Why has that happened? Anyway, he's obviously buzzing his head off. He's like celebrating. He's got his camera guy there. Apparently there was some Spanish greenkeepers close by all shouting, "Uno, uno, uno." So he's absolutely loving it. And like I say, it is as clear as anything on video. Like, you cannot miss it. It's absolutely perfect. So he's walking down there, and when he gets to the hole, he's obviously buzzing. The white thing that's normally painted is like a plastic lip, and the way that the golf ball's gone in, it's almost destroyed that plastic little cupping going around. It's damaged a little bit of the hole, and his little Strixon there at the bottom of the cup is sat there for his third hole in one.
I honestly think, like, if you're gonna, I'm fortunate I've had 2 hole-in-ones, but I weirdly don't feel like I have, because the first one, I think I probably mentioned it before on the podcast, but I was a young junior. Luckily, I was playing with an adult, so it was like all verified. It was actually one of my good friends' dad, who was junior organizer, hit this like chippy 5-iron that was not a very good shot. Went over the side of a bunker and went in. Didn't see it go in. Got to the hole it was in. The second one I had was a much better golf shot about 6 years ago, and it kind of landed and span in, but I didn't see it on the tee only when I got there. But it was a good shot. So even though I'm lucky enough to have 2, I don't feel like I have, because I think to watch it go in is the ultimate, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think on top of that, to slam dunk it
on camera,
it's the absolute dream.
He called it on the tee saying, "I fancy a hole in one." As he hit it and it said, if that's a number, it's going to slam dunk. He actually said those words before the ball slam dunk in the hole.
As well.
And it was filmed really well. So well done, Matthew. You have completed YouTube. That's two Matts.
Yeah.
Matt from Good and Matt Fryer. You're done.
Quit. Well,
I've told you, you've completed YouTube. You don't need to do anything else.
I actually texted Matt Fryer and said, we're going to talk about your hole in one on the podcast. You have a statement about it, and he's actually just heard me. He's not answered me. So I'll make.
Should I ring him?
Yeah, ring him now actually, and yeah. So we're just going to ring Matt live on air, because I'm a bit frustrated that he's been online on WhatsApp and not answered me.
See if we can hear him.
So it would have been nice of him to. Hopefully, he doesn't swear. Oh, I can hear that. Maybe he is busy.
What day is it? Monday. Coach is Monday.
All right. Okay. Fair enough. He'll kick himself when he finds out. It could have been the UK's biggest golf podcast.
Hi, I'm not here at the moment, but if you want to leave your name and number or drop me a quick text message, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks.
Why is that so serious?
After you finish your message, just hang up.
This is a good podcast.
Or to hear more options, please press 1.
Hello, is that a Matthew or the Fryer? It is Ricardo ringing from the Cala Resort, and we are just in your hole in one, and we think it is a fake. We don't believe it's gone in the hole. There was greenkeepers by the side of the green, and they said, no, it not go in. We were saying no hole in one.
Well, okay.
Mark's Rick.
Just in case you had him filled.
Just in case you didn't know it was Rick. Give us a call back. We want to talk about your hole in one.
He's online on WhatsApp as we speak. He's actually online on WhatsApp as we speak.
Ring me back.
What a strange voicemail that was that you left him. But
if you heard the voicemails me and him leave each other, they get really strange.
I don't think I've left a voicemail since 2015.
No, they get really weird.
I
was going to tell you something else then. Oh, this is mad. Right, so I shared it on my Instagram, okay? It's a nice friend. Because he deserves views. I
saw you commented on his video as well.
Obviously.
And he pinned it.
This was mad. So I got a DM off somebody, okay? I talk about bitter. I got a DM off someone. I sent it to him, actually. It said this. Right. This was a couple of minutes after I'd posted. This is from
You can read the person's name out? Is it
Jack.
Jack?
I
Okay.
won't say any more. This is what he said. This is so fake, it's a joke. Rick, it's a complete fake. He's then sent me a screenshot of the video, okay? If you watch the slow-mo on Matt's video, you can clearly see it bounce right behind the pin and then bounce off.
Okay.
Like, are you actually for real? Like, how can you even say those words? So I looked back at the video. I was like, right, I want to... what are you on about? What is this joker on about?
Because Matt Fryer is known as being a liar and a thief.
No, he's not. He's a nice guy. He's a nice guy. So I went back at the video and watched it. And exactly the time the ball slams in the hole that you can clearly see with everyone's clear eyes, in the right-hand corner, a little birdie flies off. And this guy... But,
Did you tell this guy that?
no, I couldn't be bothered replying to that. What's the point? You're not going to win against somebody who thinks that's a fake. But it's so weird. So, yeah, see if Matt rings us back.
Okay, well, I've had a question, and it's kind of a double-edged sword, really, because it's got a bit of negativity in it, but I think we can answer it well, or that you can answer it well. So it's not, well, you'll see what I mean. So I put a thing on our Facebook group, the Rick Shiels Golf Show podcast on Facebook, asking for questions for today's podcast. And one that really stood out to me is actually... I want you to answer it, but it's also going to lead on to another topic as well. So you'll see where I'm going with this.
Okay.
It's from Daniel, and he says, I started following Rick because of his reviews. I noticed that lately he has done less and less reviews. It might be quite provocative with my question, but is he doing less reviews because other people are doing it better? So,
You caught me on a wrong day. What's it called? Daniel.
yeah, Daniel.
On a
So
wrong day, Daniel.
let's go on to that. Let's talk about reviews, why you may be doing a few less reviews. And then off the back of that, I want to talk about some of the drivers for next year.
Okay.
And go ahead. Hit me.
Reviews. I think there's two things. I would love to separate the viewers' information around a review and a test. I think they're very, very different these days. I would 100%, without question, say that there's better people doing tests of golf clubs online. Scientific, proper tests. People like My Golf Spy, who have gotten hundreds and thousands of golf shots being hit by loads of different golfers on robots, in simulators, taking all the data, number crunching, etc., etc., etc. That is a test. I think the other guys that are doing almost slightly more test than review, let's say, the guys from TXG over in Canada, they really know their equipment, they're really dialed in. Matt's just messaged me. Coaching, call you shortly. They are doing kind of reviews, but also a testing element because they'll put a different shaft in, change the weight, or whatever. I think what I do a really, really good job of is reviewing equipment. I think, bar not many, I still think I make the best reviews on YouTube because I give the information, I give my opinion, I'm very honest, I'm very impartial, I know my stuff, I know all about loads of different golf clubs that have ever been used before, and I feel as a review, you want to see a few things as an audience member. You want to see how the club looks. I think we give some of the best close-ups in the world. You want to see how a club performs. I think I do a really good job of that. But yes, I do it solely on my performance of how I hit a golf shot. So I think I still do amazing reviews, but don't mix it up with tests.
Yeah.
Why I don't do as many? One, it's a good word. There's not as many pieces of equipment that have huge differences these days. So let's say, for example, a great example of this. Back in February, we were sat in my garage, and we were going to test, or I was going to start testing the new Callaway irons.
Yes.
Okay. Had all the sets there, Callaway irons. And we have a chat before starting reviewing or whatever, filming, saying, well, what is it with these irons? What's new? What's different? What's the interesting part of these irons? Is it a new material? Are they promising to go longer, straighter, more forgiving, easier to hit? Are they super expensive? Are they super cheap? Whatever it may be. And we've sat there going, they're literally no different to the Callaway irons I've tested in the past. Like, they've made some tiny changes, which in a review is not going to make for great viewing.
It can be. if the brand is claiming that that's a difference.
Correct.
So like if a brand come out with a driver and say this is the fastest, longest, most forgiving, best thing since sliced bread, 2.0 supercharged, and you go, it performs the same as 3 years ago.
Yeah.
That in itself is a good review.
Yeah.
But I think the difference is as well, what you've kind of maybe not mentioned it, but we have before, it's down to the audience that watch as well. So we know obviously, so fortunate that you've got nearly 2 million subscribers. Some of those are serious hardcore golfers. And obviously a lot of people listening to this podcast are serious hardcore golfers, but some aren't as well.
Yep.
So a lot of our viewers and a lot of your viewers that tune in for your reviews, like you said, they want to see nice images, a rough kind of overview. They don't want it to be super detailed.
They don't want to start diving into, and this is experience we found and what we know from our audience. They don't want to know the exact MOI of the club face rotation,
the exact head weight.
If you hit it 2 millimeters from center high toe, that's not our audience.
And there is people doing, like you said, TXG are amazing at doing that, and they have they obviously do some crossover, but they also have a very different demographic, don't they?
I feel like our audience will want to know information about the golf club, not only to influence whether they think they might be interested in buying it, interested in testing it, whatever it may be. But I think what a lot of the audience do, and I've seen this from evidence, there's lots of times where an audience will watch a video of a club they've got no intention of buying.
Oh yeah,
like literally no intention. But what they're doing is learning about that piece of equipment. So they might go to the golf club at the weekend and chat with the mates. Oh, have you seen that new TaylorMade driver? It's and they're armed with information.
Yeah,
they know how much it costs. They know how much adjustability the weight is. How much adjustability there is. They know, is it any faster or longer than last year? What just in a quick nutshell, a quick conversation starter.
But it's also entertainment as well. Like I'm a bit of an Apple fanboy to some degree. I've got an Apple iPhone I've had for years. But recently, I don't know why, I've been watching quite a lot of these videos on this new Google Pixel phone, and I kind of know enough about it now. I'm still watching the odd one here and there because it's some level of entertainment when there's nothing else on TV.
But on the flip side, would you particularly watch one that like proper opens the phone up and checked every nano speed of the microchip?
No, exactly. I wouldn't do, but there'll be some like hardcore phone enthusiasts who would perceive that to be a well better review than the 8-minute glossy one.
Yeah.
But it's just different audiences. And the other thing as well, coming back to, again, people like the TXGs who do such a great job, their whole channel is fundamentally based around reviews and tests of golf equipment. So anything that comes out, they're going to review because it's more content for them. They can make good content around said products. For us, obviously, it is still a real pillar of the channel is reviews of product. But that's more like your TaylorMade, your Callaway drivers, Titleist irons, wedges, etc. Other stuff, bits and bats here and there.
The flagship
products,
ultimately,
as people
would
the things
say.
that were excite us and that are going to get views. We're not necessarily going to go and do a massive full video on a Mizuno wedge, let's just say. First thing I thought of. Just because it ultimately doesn't interest us enough, it doesn't interest the viewer, but other people will do great videos of that. So that should answer the question, I think.
I think so, but generally, I mean, we still, obviously, the feedback we get and the views, I would say we do a pretty good job because people are still watching and enjoying them. And if anything, I think they have got better over the years.
Well, and lastly, this leads on to our next topic. It's hard in golf because innovation has kind of hit a wall, hasn't it, really? Due to the rules of the R&A and the USGA, the governing bodies. TaylorMade can't go out tomorrow and make a driver that is absolutely revolutionary because they're just not allowed to in the rules of golf, are they?
Yeah.
So it's hard to make stuff every year or even every few years that is that much different. But that then led me on to a question, and I've asked this again on the Facebook group. Are people excited for the 2022 golf driver releases? Because it's only around the corner. I know we're not quite in the end of 2021 yet, but it won't be long before you might see the odd leak.
Yeah.
That TaylorMade, Cobra will have new drivers out next year.
Callaway
have got a new driver coming out next year. There'll be a few other bits and bats.
I don't think Titleist. I don't know, Titleist will be back end of next year.
Back end of the year. Ping, I don't think will be until maybe the back end of the year. But anyway, some of the big brands, like I said, the flagship brands are going to have new drivers. So I said, what do people want to see?
Yeah. And
what do people actually think we'll see? Because that's two very different things. The first answer from a guy, Adam Monk, has said for them not to be £500.
Well, yeah, I could imagine. I could have guessed that answer.
But do you not think, though, as well, a lot of people do that, they're preempting because that's the brands they want to want. Like, we've not said there from the other brands, Tour Edge might bring out a new driver, Ben Ross might bring out a new driver, all these other brands. But we kind of, as consumers, a lot of people want the big name but don't want to pay the price for it.
Of course. I mean, the only company there that kind of stands out, the ones that have changed that model a little bit, is Cobra.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for the last few years, they've sat their price point much at like £350 rather than 500.
Yeah.
And again, I think a lot of people, I don't know what it kind of, I mean, you can't buy products at the moment, can you?
Well, Matthew White has said, I'll be more interested when they come out to hopefully be able to get the decent deals on previous year's gear. And that's something a lot of people say as well. If they still can get hold of them, it's quite hard to get hold of product at the minute.
It's really hard. Like, how much is so if you're looking for like a Sim 2 driver now, for example, like £400 you're picking up for. But that's if you can get hold of them. So probably when the brand new TaylorMade comes out, that might just drop a little bit. Or sometimes they just vanish. Like, you can sometimes just can't buy these secondhand ones or these older versions because they've either got the stock levels spot on or whatever. People snatch them up.
A lot of people are going on the route of this overpriced. Stephen Moss said, I'm treating myself to a new driver for the next season, so I'm excited to see what the releases are. Nobody's really coming up with an actual answer that I was kind of hoping for, of like what they want to see in terms of technology. I don't think people know. Ultimately, it's not our job, is it? People, the average guy in the street or whatever. It's not their job to think of what a brand can do next. Steve Hetherington has said realistic lead times when ordering would be nice. Again, he's obviously been
the more practical things, aren't they? Like price and lead time. It's not technology. Nobody's really giving a technology answer there.
Well, what do you think then? What would you want? We've touched on
this.
We've touched on this, but it's so hard, isn't it? This is quite good on Twitter, actually. I did it on Twitter as well. Mark Cobb has said, more drivers with a shorter shaft as standard. This would 100% help most amateur golfers. I wouldn't disagree with that.
Yeah, I think the fear with that is brands that would do shorter shafted drivers would lose the simulator war.
I always think this potentially, but would they if you start to find the middle more?
I'd like to think brands have probably thought this and tested it enough. I don't know. I feel like we live in an era.
Because if that was the case, why does every Tour Pro not use 48 inch?
Yeah, don't know.
But
again, I'm talking simulator. I'm talking you're in a bay, you're getting fitted, and it ultimately comes down into distance.
I know, but I don't think many golfers hit longer shafts actually better. They might get more clubhead speed, but they don't hit the middle as much.
Yeah,
but
like the one again, we've talked about fitting loads.
That 1 out of 10 that does go longer,
like,
possibly.
Is that enough of a dangly carrot? And I'm not talking 48 inches, but like longer versus shorter. Is that the dangly carrot that the fitter obviously naturally is going to jump on because he's going to say, yeah, but you hit this one. Look at the potential. Once you get used to this driver, you're going to be hitting that distances all the time.
So it'll be funny.
If I've only done it 1 out of 10 times.
Well, imagine, right, this would never happen. Stupid thing to say. Imagine if there's a law brought in, right? A new golf law, okay? Illegal to not do this. When getting fitted for a new driver, it has to be on the golf course in real play. Yeah. And it has to be against your own one. So you go and set the first tee, and you go, right, I've got John with me. He's got a TaylorMade RBZ from a few years ago. He wants to try the new Sim 2. So he has to play the hole with both drivers. He has to play 18 holes with both drivers. Yeah. And you actually see it in real time, the difference. It would never happen, but you'd actually see in real life, there's probably not much difference at all.
So, yeah, I think, like I said, I don't disagree with that comment. I just think brands, certainly when they're in a buying scenario, when they're getting a fit in or they're in a simulator or they're at a driving range, it will ultimately come down to the longer shaft. If you catch one well, it's probably going to outperform it, not on consistency level, but on the 1 or 2 times that, unfortunately, us as human beings will be like, oh, I can do that every time. Let me just get used to this driver and I'll do it every time.
Do you think, though, as well, like, it is going to get... Because a lot of people now are saying overpriced and stuff, and I kind of wonder, are they just saying that, but actually they will end up going buying it, or they have quite new gear themselves anyway? But weirdly, I was texting a friend the other day about something, and he said he was debating getting a new iPhone, and then he said, I'm not bothered now, I'm still sticking with the iPhone 8, because I could have got the new 13 Pro, it would have cost me however much a month. I'm only paying for the kind of the contract third time, SIM only at the moment. So it would have cost me £50 a month more to get the new phone, and yeah, the camera's a bit better, but I'm not that bothered. And more and more people now are doing that. Like I said earlier on, I'm a big Apple fan. I would normally every year have the latest iPhone. I've currently got the 11 Pro, so there's been a 12 Pro, now there's a 13 Pro, and I'm not that bothered about swapping it. I don't think I will, because of the price versus improvement. Yeah. And you do see that more and more now with iPhones. So many people are just using SIM only and have a phone that might be an iPhone 7 or 8 or whatever.
Unless you're an idiot like me.
Well, yeah.
and I've ordered mine, and mine comes tomorrow.
No, but you know what I mean. But let more people spend with an older phone now.
Yeah.
And
Well, people will spend it.
People still will, but there's also a lot more people now aren't
that's
having the
fine.
latest iPhone.
Yeah.
So is that going to get to the point in golf where actually now like people are saying it, but people are going to start going genuinely? We're watching these videos online. We all understand launch monitors to some degree now. We're watching these reviews of yourself and TXG. There is no real difference. I'm not going to bother.
I almost feel like we're already at that stage.
Well, yeah.
In fact, I think we're 100% we are. Like, how many times do we go down to the Marriott or go out filming somewhere? Do we literally see a bag with the latest gear in? It is rare.
It is.
It's not as. There's certainly more older gear.
Yeah. 100%.
Than newer gear. So I think we're almost at that point already. But I'm just looking online here and I can't find the answer. But price has been discussed loads, and obviously in that thread it's been discussed loads. But rewind time, like even back end of like 1990s, when the Callaway ERC driver came out, do you remember it?
Yeah, you had one.
That was £500.
Yeah, I had it. I didn't get it new. I got it second hand for £100.
So like,
but there was a jump in innovation.
Yeah,
they were very. There was coming to 460cc. That was actually illegal. The first version.
It wasn't illegal at the time, but
it soon became illegal. The ERC2, I don't think it was. Don't quote me on that. But there was at least jumps.
Yeah, and that's it. They've almost kept at that price point. I think it
went down.
Go down a little bit.
The Ping G2 launched at 199, and that really changed the game at the time. And it was only really, again, when I was at Nike, they had 3 drivers, 200 quid was it? No, 249, 299, and then like a really expensive 379 version that was a concept one that nobody actually used. And it's only in the last 5 years they've really kind of, again, PXG introduced this expensive price point. I think people would pay. Potentially, people would pay anyway, but people would be more open to paying if there was something tangible that was different.
Of course.
Like, again, with your iPhone, if that could open up like an iPad and then, like the Samsung ones do, and then shrink down again, you'd be like, I'm going to get the new one. Or I would anyway. But they're not doing anything different.
No, they're not. Time will tell.
I want them to do something different, though. That's what I want the new drivers to come out, and I want to be dead excited
about
them.
I say, you had a chat. I've not had a chat with said person, but you had a chat with somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And they seem to, and like I say, you can only take what brands say with a pinch of salt, a big pinch of salt sometimes. But certainly the source you talked about from a major manufacturer seemed outrageously excited about the launch in January.
Yes.
More than normal,
which got me thinking, what is it?
Yet there was another spokesman from another company who really wasn't that excited about the new product.
That's very true.
So who knows? Time will tell. But to get your most in-depth, detailed, fun, entertaining, all-rounded, unbiased, best close-ups, best personality reviews, make sure you subscribe to TXG.
Hey! I was going to do it first, but I thought I can't. Well, nicely done. I was going to say Matt Fryer. Do you want to do Rick?
Let's do it.
It's a bit of it's quite a good one this week because it's a very, very specific person's inquiry, question, etc.
Okay.
But I actually think it can kind of be, what's the word I'm looking for? Almost like utilised for more people now it's winter. So you'll see what I'm saying. It's titled, is Dear Rick, London Golfer Issues. So it says, Dear Rick and Guy, love the podcast, keep it going, and hopefully see you at the 150th Open next year. Nice. Hope to see you there as well. My flatmate and I are both young professionals now living in London. We both used to play football, but have now got into golf over the past 18 months, playing off 16 and 25. So quite a common kind of story, that, isn't it, really?
Yeah, very popular.
We try and get out of London to play a course once a fortnight, but it can be difficult with work and the hassle of getting out of the city. We want to practice to get our handicap down, but this can be difficult in London. We have a put-out, so people that don't know what put-outs are, they're like, how do you explain a put-out?
Predominantly, it's a training aid that kind of folds in half, you pop it open, has a little hole in, and to get it into the hole, it's got to be the perfect
It's like a little half pipe, but you go on a skateboard in it.
Perfect.
So where I've lost them up to now. Yes, we have a put out. We use to practice in the flat. Our putting to practice our putting, but we need to get away. I find a way of practicing other aspects of our game. The driving range is quite far away and can be expensive when factoring in London rates and travel to the range. So I'm guessing he's probably on the Greenwich Peninsula driving range, which is expensive. We have a huge communal bike shed, which we think we could fit in a golf net, but aren't sure if golf nets are worth it. Can you give us advice on the best way to practice in London? So again, quite specific, but I'm also thinking for people at home now who are thinking it's hard to get out and play golf. There's less hours of daylight. I can't have going to golf because I want to keep my swing going over the winter.
Yeah.
It's kind of a double. You've got two answers really, I guess.
Well, not only would it be London, I'm guessing it'd be the same if you lived in any big major city like New York or LA or whatever it may be. It's going to be quite challenging to get out on a golf course, I would imagine. And certainly now the lights are getting darker. Really.
The lights are getting less light.
Yeah. God, it's a challenge, isn't it? It really is.
Do you think stuff like the practicing at home actually makes a difference? I remember as a junior, I would be forever putting upstairs the landing with my obviously 2-ball and a nice white, clean, brand new golf ball. Yeah. Did it actually make a difference?
I don't mind repetitive practice that's very close, that's very predictable, probably for putting mainly only. Because any other aspect of your game will be varied. Like, you can't really practice your chipping or your short game massively because, one, you're not hitting off grass and you're not hitting off different lies, you're not hitting into greens, and, you know, there's different obstacles. But I do think if you're going to practice anything at home, and obviously most people can do it, you can get a decent smooth carpet or a little bit of AstroTurf or something that you can put on with something like a putout or a training aid, then yes, it's something.
Yeah.
Not perfect, but it's definitely something. After that,
the net in the bike shed, what do you think?
I know we talked about this a lot through lockdown about kind of nets and stuff, and I understand loads of people went out and bought nets or put bloody duvets up or whatever it may be just so they could hit golf balls. I honestly think now if lockdown took place again, we would see less of that, because I honestly believe the amount of people that built nets or did something realistic probably didn't use it that much.
No.
Really.
It seems good on paper, doesn't it, having a net at home?
It seems like the best thing in the world. But it can be bloody boring, that. I think I'd get really bored just hitting it into a net with no real practice or structure, and you can't really see the ball fly. And, you know, obviously if you've got the luxury of being able to plug in some sort of launch monitor, whether it's a little portable one or something a little bit more fancy, yes, it helps. But then as soon as you start talking about launch monitors, you're starting to think about, well, would a simulator be better? A simulator is better because it's obviously you can see ball flight a little bit more, certainly if you can project it onto the screen, etc. But then obviously price massively jumps up.
Realistic, is it, for most people?
A net, you could pick one up probably for Amazon for 30 quid, really 50 quid tops, to a baseline simulator at probably $5,000.
Well, let's just say then that the guys in London, they decide to get a cheap net, they put it in the bike shed, they get a bit of AstroTurf. How would you have any drills for them or any kind of swing thoughts? I know you don't know how they hit it, but what would be a good way of spending a night or two a week hitting balls?
I think that the most productive thing you can be doing it is almost taking your. I'd probably plug it in with a lesson. If you can have even just one lesson, a little half an hour somewhere with a local pro or somewhere where you can get in for a lesson, and then you've got something tangible to work on. Because I honestly think if you're just going into a net and you don't have any real idea, or you've watched obviously some YouTube videos, etc., but they're not massively tailored to you, you could get yourself in a real pickle if you're not seeing ball flight.
Yeah.
Where, for example, if you went for a very quick lesson, try and find a kind of, even if it's an assistant pro where it might be a little bit cheaper, and then it might tell you, right, well, actually, a couple of things, your grip's a little bit strong, your stance is a bit narrow, your ball position's off. Okay, brilliant, right. You can take that information and practice that for as long as you want, getting your ball position absolutely spot on, like making sure your wedges are in the middle, your drivers from your left foot, and each club as you go up goes slightly closer to your left foot, making sure you've got like a mirror or someone filming you from behind to make sure your posture's good, your distance away from the golf ball is good. And then things like grip, like in a net, you can really take your time, and before every single golf shot, before you hit, be really kind of meticulous about how you put your hands on the golf club from the advice that the lesson has taught you. So you can be very, very like productive with your time. And then at least then if you're hitting balls into a net, even though you're not seeing ball flight as such, you're fundamentally working on something that once you get out on the golf course or once you get to a driving range and start seeing ball flight, you've bedded in really good habits.
Yeah.
So it's more of a habit builder, a net, than actually a performance enhancer.
Do you think, though, when, obviously, if you're like a a scratch golfer, let's just say, then whacking balls with no purpose isn't going to be very beneficial. I think the handicaps are 18 and 25, so obviously they don't want to get into bad habits because that's not going to help the golf. But do you think they're at the point of ability where just actually whacking balls aimlessly can actually improve them, just find the middle of the face more, just building some level of swing, or is it too much of a risk?
Well, I always remember there was a guy who used to come to see me for golf lessons, and he was quite stuck in his ways, habit-wise. He'd been playing for a long time with no lessons, and he came to me because he really wanted to try and make some improvements. And over about 3 or 4 lessons, I really tried to make some kind of changes, but some people are just harder to move. Mm-hmm. Like the habits are so ingrained in that it was just like, even just moving his hand like an inch to the left was really hard for him to do. And even if we got it in the lesson, he'd come back next week and it'd be back to normal. So I started to think differently and started to think, well, how can I make him better and play better golf without actually changing anything? Like I can make him better at golf without changing anything at all, because I started to look at things such as strike location on the club face. And he had some really odd habits, but every now and again he could find the middle, but it would be toe strikes, heel strikes, middle, toe, heel, middle, toe, and like really kind of unpredictable. So we started monitoring this, and I know I spoke to you about this on videos before when I filmed it about strike location, and it's sometimes hard when you've not kind of seen it, but all I got with this guy was some strike tape for his club face, and I gave him a task, and I said, each time you go to the driving range and practice, or in a net or whatever it may be, put these strike tapes on your face, hit 10 shots, take a picture on your phone and see where the strike locations are from, and next time try and bring that circle in tighter. And honestly, genuinely, I didn't have to give him any advice. I didn't have to tell him to move closer, further away.
Just did it.
He could figure it out because he could see it.
Yeah.
Beforehand, he had no idea where he was hitting on the face. Like literally, I could say to him, "Where did you hit that shot from?" And he'd look at me and go, "Don't know."
No.
Literally, I don't know where I hit it from. Once you've got some feedback, go, "Oh, I hit it from the toe. I didn't know that." All
So
right.
that's how it feels, and then you can.
Well, I don't want to hit it from the toe. I'll try, and honestly, it sounds daft. I'll try and hit it a bit more from the middle, and suddenly they'll move it half a ball over to the middle, and they go, okay, that was interesting.
Interesting stuff.
So all he did, each time I went to the driving range, put a sticker on, took a picture, saved it on like a folder on his phone, and over time his strike pattern on the club face went from like huge, he could hit everywhere on the club face, to in a few weeks, just over good practice, his like strike location became so much more centered. I changed nothing. I didn't change anything in his golf swing, and instantly his golf improved enormously. So it was like, it was, if you are going to measure anything, strike location's a good place to start, or just get really fundamental, basic actions, good habits correct.
Yeah, so the other thing they could do, I don't know how realistic this
Move
is.
to Manchester.
Or they could, I don't know if it's like worth, if they go to the gym or not, the young lads they may or may not do, but maybe doing some like golf specific stuff, potentially even just a bit of stretch, not that I know anything about this really, but stretching or some weight stuff, I'm sure it would have some positive impact. Question that's similar then, one more question for you, but it's kind of similar, but yeah, it's quite different. It's from Aidan. He said, how do you keep motivation during the winter months?
Yeah.
Question then, because I saw this before, obviously got it ready. Do you need to? So what I mean by that is, you know, we need to be motivated for things that are important. We need to be motivated for work or fitness or whatever it might be. But if golf is your hobby, do you need to be bothered about playing through the winter?
Yeah, sometimes it is nice to not play, and then when it comes to nicer weather, almost get excited for it again. However, if you want an answer, I would say just trying to get into a good group of golfers and try and make a weekly night at the gym. At the drive.
He says the gym these days.
A week, one every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Do a roll up. Everyone at the driving range, just have a great time.
That's a good shout. That
because it's things like that just keep you going through the winter.
100%.
Even if you're just getting your clubs out once a week and it's a bit of a social gathering, and it's
it's whacking a few balls while having a chat in it, really. But the balls do add up, don't they?
And it's just something like that. And, every now and again, if there's a break in the weather or there's a nice opportunity, go out to a nice dry golf course, a links golf course, certainly here in the UK, wrap up warm. And it's still fun. Like going playing golf sometimes in the winter, if you're prepared, can be fun.
I tried about 7 or 8 years ago, maybe a bit less, I can't remember now, but I did Winter League with my brother, which was every second week on like a Saturday or a Sunday you could choose. I think we did Saturday. We lasted like 2 2 times and was like sacked it off. It's just too cold and didn't really enjoy it. But it's a weird one because if it's a hobby, there's no requirement to play for the winter. It's up to you. Obviously, the positives of playing for the winter, you probably will start your season off better because you've been swinging the club.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you're paying for a 12-month membership and you don't play in the UK from October the 1st till March, end of March, you're wasting 6 months of your membership. But it, like you said then, the driving range, I went through a spell again a number of years ago. You know TFG in Widnes where you got fitted that time? I went there with my dad and my brother probably once a week, like every week through the winter. And it was a go, have a bit of a mooch around the shop, have a look at, grab a few putters and stuff, hit 50 balls. And I did find that when I started the season again, I wasn't great, but I was much kind of fresher than if I'd have just had the whole 6 months of not playing.
I was really... sounds really mad this. I was quite envious of a group of guys that used to go to Trafford Golf Centre every Thursday night, and they used to arrive at like 7. Older guys, probably families have grown up, and they just look like they're having the best time in the world.
You know what I like what that to start off with? Thursday.
Yeah.
I think a Thursday fits that so well, doesn't it?
Like Thursday night at Trafford was the busiest night.
It's a nice night
for
Thursday.
like serious golfers.
Yeah.
And you go down and there was like 4 of them, and they'd have a cup of coffee and they'd have a bit of a natter.
Did they wear Galvin Green? I feel like they would wear Galvin Green.
They were pretty wedged, yeah.
Galvin Green
all the
cover-ups.
clubs were nice and everything. And they bought like new clubs all the time. They were, hey, listen, they were enjoying life. Why not? And they'd have 2 bays. So they're 4 golfers, but 2 bays, alternating, rotating, whacking a few of each other's clubs. And then, oddly enough, I kind of ended up getting chatting to him. And they used to always take my 9 o'clock slot on a Thursday night. So they'd be there from like literally 6 till like 9 hitting golf shots, or maybe 7 till 9. And then the 4 of them would come and see me for an hour and just have like 15 minutes each.
Just like a bit of a quick check.
Just something, yeah. And it was a bit of
that was an easy one for you, a good one.
Bit of a natter, bit of a, I found it in this new driver, like, oh, I don't like that shot I'm hitting out to the right. Yeah, try this, fix. And it was like perfect. And they split the lesson cost, and it was actually worked out super cheap for them. And it was like, they just loved it. And
I felt like they played off like 7.
Yeah. And like one of them was a captain of the golf club, and they were just a nice bunch of guys. And I looked back and thought, quite envious of this.
Yeah, I like that.
Like, I'm quite like envious of what you've got going on here, because it's like it's perfect. It's a really nice, certainly through the winter and through the summer. You wouldn't see them at the driving range, and that's fine. But through the winter, from now till March, they'd be there. Yeah, nice times.
I feel like you really envious these guys.
I miss those guys. I might ring him up and say, "Can I join you on a?" I
feel like one of them would be called Simon.
No, Terry, Paul.
Oh, that's not what vibe I was going with at all.
What are the other 2 called? Terry, Paul.
How old were they, by the way?
Terry's son would come every now and again. He was also called Terry.
The Terrys.
Who was the other guy called? It was Terry, Paul, little Terry.
Have you made this up?
No, I promise. I'd actually tell you something quite funny about when I booked him into the system, but I won't.
You've got a couple of Terrys, you've got a Paul.
I can't know what the other guy's called. That's going to really
sure he's not
me.
called Simon?
No.
And how old were they?
60s, 70s.
Oh, actually, in my mind, I was thinking like late 40s.
Oh, no. Much older, yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, little Terry was at like 40.
Oh, right. I thought little Terry was like 15. He was a shandy.
No. Little Terry was like 40. Anyway.
Good. Well, we've got to about 50 minutes, so we can either end it there sharpish or we can riff for 10 minutes. We learnt a new word. When John Robbins came to do the live podcast, we had to check the microphones. He went, just riff. So we just riffed, didn't we? We really got into riffing.
Well, Matt said he can't phone us for another 10 minutes, so
no,
we're not going to wait for that.
Nah. So we'll go and watch Matt's video. We might put the clip on that bit before, but if you've not gone and watched it, watch it. And then seeing it hole in one, it's all right. It's a decent shot.
It's really good. We do have a video planned for Thursday, but the guy who we're filming at, the golf course we're filming at, just texted me saying, I'm guessing you're not doing it on Thursday.
Why?
I don't know.
Because the weather?
Yeah.
Other thing quickly just to touch on, actually, was the golf ball that we did, the video of.
Microchip.
The microchip golf ball. It's done quite well. If you've not seen it, go and check it out. It's this new it's a golf ball that has a microchip built in that connects via Bluetooth to your Android phone, annoyingly. It doesn't do an Apple yet. And it tells you where the golf ball's gone. It wasn't the best, was it?
There was levels of promise, but it needs much more development. It was kind of a bit of a prototype starter company, so who knows what they might come out with next? But yeah, it was elementary at the moment.
That needs to be something I think we've talked before where drives can go, and it's hard to picture. But I think for me, that seems so. I've said this before again, but like if I were for a run now, I have to take my phone with me or my Apple Watch and track it. It would feel like a waste of a run to not do it. Sounds stupid. There's got to be something in golf soon that changes. Like again, when people go to the range now, there's Top Trace, there's just TrackMan, and it feels like if that wasn't there, you're hitting with no data. It can't be long before there's a proper Titleist golf ball, tailor-made, whatever it might be, that has a chip in it that connects to your club head or to your phone and you get data. Like, I can't believe that's not a thing yet.
Club head speed, spin rates, ball speed, distance. It can't
be that difficult, surely.
Yeah. Or even like things like after the round of golf, it would tell you exactly how far your ball travelled, what direction most of your tee shots went in.
Yeah.
Was it because your swing path was out to in or into out or strike location or whatever it may be? It could all intertwine into this kind of ecosystem where it all works together: ball, clubs, phones, technology.
It needs to be done.
It
can be.
It'll
surely.
completely break the rules, but I think that's just whatever. It's one of those things. And then also the video that's gone out yesterday was if you want to see me struggle playing golf.
You did struggle. I don't blame you for struggling.
Watch me on the hardest golf course in the UK.
And that was when you had a blanket as well. That was the day you took the blanket, which we talked about.
If you can still look at me in the eye when you watch that video,
I don't think you should watch it. I think you should turn off and just ghost.
yeah, it doesn't go to plan.
And then the second part, the back nine, will be out
tomorrow,
Wednesday. Yeah.
So enjoy
videos.
Enjoy both because, and ironically, I think we have to change the next coaching video.
Why?
For Friday.
Was it about something that you did bad in that video?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you hadn't watched your own video by then, so you'll do another video. I think we should get you playing a bit more golf before the end of the year because...
Do we have to?
Yeah, I think you don't have to. Get you to the driving range, get you in a net.
I'm going to just go meet with Terry and Paul.
The Terrys.
I could be the fourth man. I must admit, when you look out the door today and you think, oh my God, I don't want to do anything today. It's bloody absolutely minging.
That is hard, isn't it? If golf is your sport, which obviously everybody listening, I take it is, you have got in the UK literally most of October, November, December, January, February. It's horrendous, isn't it, really?
Well, it isn't. It's not. Like, for example, I did this talk on Friday to or Thursday it was, to a school in Canada.
Yeah.
Okay, 80 students. And I can't remember where they were in Canada now, but they talked about how a lot of them do water sports. And I don't mean like water polo. I mean like rowing and canoeing and stuff like that. From literally this week, it'll get so cold and frozen till literally April time. And they cannot do their sport.
Weirdly though, is that not better?
Just because they can't do it.
Yeah, if you can't, if there was some law or some like rule, like, it was snow and you cannot play golf, so you literally put the clubs away and you know it's pointless. But that's almost the worst thing about golf, the fact that like in the UK, certainly around Manchester area, and the courses that I would play at, they're all boggy, they're not very great. And you could have a day where it's nice, which in a way is good because you can play. But that's why you can't really almost like put it to bed.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And also, you know, you might go on a golf holiday. You might go away or Spain or Tenerife or Dubai or whatever. I suppose a bit like that in Canada, it might be a bit harder because you can't really just send your canoe to LA or whatever.
But I don't know that canoeing world. But again, with like before with memberships, you're paying typically for a year's membership. Yeah. And often that's direct debits. You're literally playing October the 1st, it comes out, November the 1st, December, and it could be 100 quid, it could be whatever. Which to most people, obviously, is a lot of money. Of course, it is £100 a month potentially as your membership, and you can't play.
I wonder what is the average like membership price per month, do you think?
I don't know. I think it's between 800 to 1,200 quid a year, I think, roughly. Okay. But maybe, obviously, you can pay much more and you can pay much less.
It's about 70 quid a month, roughly.
Yeah, I'd guess so. But people can maybe comment below if you're watching this.
Yeah. How much you pay for
membership a year. But unless, I mean...
somebody's there, remember, at Queenswood and going, I might not
45 million grand. But I've done it... I've done it both ways. I paid for memberships before all in one, and the benefit of that is that it's paid, and say if you do it in March, and then it comes to October, it feels like ages ago, so I don't feel like I've paid. The downside is, obviously, you lose a lump sum. Benefit of paying monthly is it doesn't hurt as much, but then, like I said, you come to October, November, December. However, is that an incentive for you to go and play more? You think, I'm paying this month £100 quid. Let's go and at least play twice or once or whatever.
Oh, it's closed.
Yeah.
Oh, it's closed again. Oh, I can't play.
I used to remember when I used to work in the pro shop and the course was closed. It was kind of a bit of a love-hate because the shop had to stay open. I'd sit there on my own for best part of 8 hours.
Yeah.
and it was like there's nobody coming in, so I can watch stuff on the laptop. I can go on Facebook. I can poke people on. Do you remember you could poke on Facebook?
What a weird concept.
And I could maybe have a little putting comp in the pro shop.
Obviously.
Drink a few Lucasades.
Fill up the fridge.
Yeah, and then have a couple of Lucasades and a Crunchy. But it was boring as well.
Yeah. I'd prefer it to be busy. I prefer days because it went so much quicker.
100%.
But the problem is in summer, the pro shop I was working at was like we opened at 7, didn't close till 9.
9?
9 because it was at Mere with like a resort and stuff.
Oh my word!
So it's like we used to do splits, like mid split. So we used to do either a 7 till 1 or a 1 till 9. I think that was about right. So yeah, 7 till 1 or 1 till 9. And I mean, in the summer it just went super busy but in the winter we weren't open till 9. I must admit we shut earlier. But it was like, oh my God, you might do like an 8 till 6 in the winter. And I was like, oh my God, it's the longest day in the world.
Yeah, that's grim.
But anyway.
That was a good riff. We riffed. So we talked about riffing there, which is a really good 10-minute riff, 5-minute riff.
I feel like we're so close to Matt Fryer ringing us back.
We can't really prolong the podcast just for Matt Fryer, can we?
Let me just see what he says. Let me say, can you talk now? Now. If you're thinking, what's happened? Should I put it's urgent?
Do you remember we used to pretend that we didn't like Matt Fryer? It was a bit of a... That's why I said it then. We can't wait for Matt Fryer, but we do really like Matt Fryer.
This is also a mad one. I saw his dad,
Adrian Fryer.
the famous Fryer.
The proper Fryer.
He's played golf for 45 years. Had
Incredible.
no hole in one.
Oh my word.
0. How mad is that?
Now young Matthews had 3.
It's mad, that, isn't it?
Mm.
Well, Matt was with me when I had mine. He gave me, because he caddied for me.
He was a hole-in-one omen. Do you think you're ever going to get one on camera?
I was super close the other day when I played that 18 holes, that first shot. In the dark.
Oh, yeah.
But
yeah.
It's close, a foot away.
No, I was going to say, would it count?
That one did.
Yeah,
that
would.
first one did.
Yeah, it would have.
I didn't get any closer after that, so that one would have
I do feel like if you got one, though, it obviously any hole-in-one that counts, but it would be good if it was like in an actual round of 18. It was just, you know what I mean?
Like
there wasn't any
75 proper
there
one.
wasn't any weird caveat.
Yeah. I feel like if I'm going to get one, also, it sounds ridiculous. Obviously, I'd want it on a sick hole where you can proper see it.
Yes.
Because imagine those ones where you're like, did it go in? It looked good, but did it go in?
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
That Matt's was perfect.
It was.
How
Literally.
much would you buy Matt Fryer's hole-in-one for 25 grand?
Would I buy it for 25 grand?
That was you in that place.
Yeah.
I don't know why that's funny. I knew you said, yeah, I'm going to find it funny.
Yeah, I'd buy it off him now for 25. Can I ask him?
Yeah. I reckon he'd sell it for 25 grand.
Is it like an NFT?
Yeah. No, but if that was... So you paid for that, and then you woke up and it was all forgotten about, and then you got onto the golf course. It might not have been that golf course, but you got onto a golf course, you had a hole-in-one like that, well filmed and everything.
Yeah, I'd take it, yeah. I reckon Matt would as well. He'd sign on dotted line for that.
Are we waiting for Matt then, or we're just going to...
Let me just say, can you talk now?
We could just pause the podcast and come back on when he's here, so the audience don't have to wait.
But what else are they doing? Stuck in traffic?
People are either running,
Yeah.
driving,
Yeah.
in bed,
Okay.
with the lover.
Whatever floats your boat.
When I get that feeling, I want sexual healing.
Wow. With me and Guy riffing in the background.
We just riff, just two riffers.
I must admit, it'd take your mind off the task in hand.
A little spank as well for good measure.
He's not having it. Last try, and if he doesn't answer, we'll finish the podcast.
This is quite a good ending, 'cause it's quite like anticipation.
He said he can talk at 5 past, and it's currently 3 minutes past.
Sounds really clear as well, that.
I've just texted him saying it's urgent.
You know what's going to happen? We're going to put the mics down. It's on.
Hello.
Oh, he's here.
Hi, Matt.
You okay?
Yeah. It's really...
We're live and direct.
How did you know?
Because, I don't know, just got a feeling.
Audio sounds good.
You only phone me for content.
I've got an offer for you.
Go on then.
Can I buy your hole-in-one off you?
Yeah, if you want.
25 grand.
No, it's not enough.
Oh, God. I was actually going to go lower then. We've just been talking about it on the podcast.
Can I ask him if we can use the footage?
Can we use the footage?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes!
Sweet.
We love Matt Fryer. It's worth the wait.
Yeah.
That was. We're just talking about how we think it's the best hole-in-one we've ever seen on camera.
It wasn't bad. I was just
Actually,
literally
take
just
that
been
back. Take
explaining
that back.
to my,
We've also just said the one from Good Matt, the other Matt with a hole in one is probably slightly better, but yours is the best on a par 3.
Yeah.
With the pitching wedge.
With the pitching
Best
wedge.
with the pitching wedge I've ever
Most
seen.
accurate.
Did you see the comment I sent you about the guy who said it was fake?
Yeah, I saw that and I was like, well, if you actually watch the other screen, you see a bird fly by, and if you just use your common sense, you know it's the bird.
It's a bit weird. How can somebody even like accuse it of being fake?
I thought it was an eagle.
Because there's some sad people out there, unfortunately.
Weird. Anyway, congratulations. Thanks for
Thank you.
ending our podcast. Basically, it's just been like the Matt Fryer Love Appreciation podcast today.
I appreciate it.
Matt, can you hear me or not?
Yeah, I can hear you now, yeah.
That's the first and last time I ever text you because you've not replied. So we're done.
You didn't know it was.
I was coaching.
Oh,
I saw
fair
it. I
enough.
thought, normally I would do, but not the guy.
But for me, he was like, okay.
Of course he
I'll
did.
ring
Yeah, it's Rich. God's call.
Well done for completing YouTube.
Well in, Matt.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon.
All right, mate. Speak to you in a
Bye.
bit.
Bye. Love you. Bye. Right.
That was good.
All right,
that
we
was
can end
worth.
it
That
now.
was that was worth waiting. Really was.
The audience will be the judge of that. Thanks for listening to episode 103, and we'll see you next week.
104. That's how it works. That's how numbers work.